You don't become strong by pushing harder. That's the lie most people believe. They think strength is created through pressure, through intensity, through becoming harsher with themselves. But real inner strength doesn't arrive through force. It arrives through stability, because a weak mind isn't one that suffers. A weak mind is one that cannot hold itself steady. And this is where most people misunderstand strength completely. They chase extremes, extreme routines, extreme discipline, extreme motivation. But extremes don't create strength. They create temporary control, followed by collapse. Inner strength is quieter than that. It's not visible in how much you do in one day, but in how consistently you remain grounded across many ordinary days. A strong mind is not loud. It does not announce itself. It does not need intensity to function. Simply holds attention, holds emotion, holds direction, even when life feels comfortable. Even when nothing is pushing you. That's the real test, because comfort doesn't destroy people suddenly. It slowly dissolves their edge. When life becomes easy, the mind begins to drift. There is no urgency, no resistance, no friction to shape the self. And without friction, the inner structure softens. Not dramatically, not visibly, but silently. You wake up later than planned. You delay things you once handled easily. You lose sharpness not because life is hard, but because nothing is demanding you anymore. This is why people feel weak even when everything looks fine from the outside. Their life is comfortable, but their inner posture is collapsing. And inner strength begins returning only when you rebuild that posture. Not through suffering, but through self-alignment. Inner strength grows when your actions and your values stop fighting each other. When you say something and follow it. When you decide something and finish it. When your word becomes predictable to your own nervous system. Your mind doesn't need punishment. It needs trust. Every time you break a promise to yourself, your system learns one thing. I cannot rely on myself. And no amount of motivation can fix that. But when you begin keeping small promises, simple ones, your nervous system starts relaxing because safety returns. Not emotional safety, structural safety. The mind becomes strong when it knows, I will not abandon myself today. Not in dramatic ways, in quiet ones. You stop overstimulating when tired. You stop escaping when uncomfortable. You stop betraying yourself for short relief. And slowly, very slowly, something stabilizes inside you. You no longer feel scattered. You no longer feel pulled in 10 directions. Because strength is not energy. Strength is center. A centered mind doesn't rush. It doesn't panic. It doesn't react to every impulse. Pauses. That pause is power. Not aggression. Not dominance. Just control over direction. When you can pause before reacting, pause before escaping, pause before giving up, you regain authority over yourself. And once authority returns internally, the world begins responding differently without you forcing anything. People sense steadiness. They feel when someone is not desperate for approval, not chasing stimulation, not leaking energy. That presence is not taught. It is built through restraint that feels calm, not harsh. Through routines that feel stable, not extreme. Through identity that says, I don't need chaos to feel alive. Inner strength is not intensity. It's endurance. The ability to stay present without stimulation. To stay composed without reward. To stay aligned without external pressure. That's why the strongest people often look calm. Because they are not fighting themselves anymore. Their mind is no longer divided. And when division ends, strength naturally returns. The mind doesn't weaken because you fail. It weakens because you stop standing with yourself afterward. Most people don't lose strength at the moment they fall. They lose it when they start judging themselves for falling. That inner attack creates fragmentation. One part wants to improve. Another part feels ashamed. Another part wants to escape the discomfort completely. And a divided mind cannot be strong. Strength begins returning when that inner war ends. When you stop speaking to yourself like an enemy and start treating your attention like something valuable. Not everything deserves your reaction. Not everything deserves your energy. Not every emotion deserves immediate expression. A strong mind chooses containment. Not suppression, containment. Suppression is fear-based. Containment is mastery-based. You feel the emotion, but you don't let it steer the wheel. You feel the urge, but you don't surrender direction. That gap between feeling and acting is where inner strength is born. Most people live with no gap at all. Impulse appears, action happens. Emotion rises, reaction follows. There is no space, and without space, there is no authority. When you begin creating even a few seconds of pause, your nervous system starts reorganizing itself because it finally understands, I am not at the mercy of every sensation. That realization is deeply stabilizing. You don't need to control life. You only need to control your response. And response is always slower than impulse. That slowness is not weakness. It's maturity. The strongest minds move slower than their emotions. They wait. They observe. They let the surge pass. Because emotion always peaks and falls. If you don't feed it, this is how inner strength compounds quietly. Not by fighting desire, but by outlasting it. Desire is fast. Discipline is slow. But slow always wins. Over time, your system begins to trust your leadership. The chaos reduces. The restlessness softens. The constant mental noise lowers. Not because life changed, but because you stopped abandoning the center. And when the center holds, everything organizes around it. Your focus sharpens naturally. Your words become fewer. Your presence becomes heavier. You don't try to be respected. You simply stop leaking yourself. This is why inner strength doesn't feel aggressive. Feels grounded. You are no longer trying to prove anything. No longer chasing urgency. No longer reacting to invisible pressures. You act when it's time. You pause when it's not. That rhythm, action, pause, restraint creates inner rhythm. And rhythm creates power. Not loud power. Not dominant power. Quiet power. The kind that doesn't seek attention, yet commands it. The kind that doesn't announce discipline, yet radiates it. The kind that doesn't rush forward, because it knows exactly where it stands. When you live like this, life stops feeling overwhelming, not because problems disappear, but because your system can now hold weight. That's what strength really is, the ability to carry pressure without collapsing inward. And that ability is built, not through extremes, but through loyalty to yourself, in small, repeated moments. Each time you pause instead of react. Each time you stay instead of escape. Each time you finish instead of quit. These moments stack, quietly, until one day you realize you are no longer fragile. You are stable, and stability is the foundation of all real power. Strength doesn't come from doing more. It comes from staying present when doing less feels uncomfortable. Most people collapse not under pressure, but under stillness, because stillness forces you to face yourself. Without distraction, no noise, no escape, no stimulation to hide behind. That's why the mind keeps searching for something. A phone, a thought, a worry, a fantasy. Not because it needs it, because silence exposes instability. When you remove stimulation, the nervous system initially panics, feels empty, uncertain, restless, and the mind mistakes that discomfort for danger. So it rushes back to habit. But that discomfort is not weakness. It's recalibration. Your system is learning to exist without constant emotional input. This phase is where most people quit. They say, "Something feels wrong with me," but nothing is wrong. Your mind is simply detoxing from chaos it mistook for normal. If you stay, if you don't run back to distraction, a second shift begins. The thoughts slow, not immediately, but gradually, like muddy water settling. When you stop stirring it, you don't force clarity, you allow it. That's an important difference. Force creates tension. Allowance creates order. When the mind realizes you won't rescue it from discomfort, it begins organizing itself. Old anxieties surface, then fade. Old impulses rise, then dissolve. Because without reinforcement, they cannot survive. This is where inner strength becomes self-generating. You are no longer pushing discipline. Discipline starts supporting you. You wake up steadier. Your reactions soften. Your emotional highs and lows reduce. Not numb, balanced. You begin to sense something new, a quiet baseline, a grounded center that doesn't fluctuate wildly with praise or rejection. That center is not excitement, it's stability, and stability feels unfamiliar at first. Many mistake it for boredom, but it's not boredom. It's peace without performance, a state where you don't need intensity to feel alive. That's why disciplined minds appear calm, even when life isn't. They're not detached, they're anchored. Their sense of self isn't floating from one moment to the next. It has weight, and weight gives presence. People feel it without understanding why, because humans subconsciously respond to regulated nervous systems. Calm signals safety. Safety commands attention. This is the psychology behind quiet authority. Not posture, not dominance, not words, regulation. When your inner world stabilizes, The outer world stops controlling you. You still feel fear, but it no longer decides. You still feel desire, but it no longer drives. You still feel pressure, but it no longer bends you. You become selective, and selectivity is power, because power is not how much you do, it's how much you refuse. Refuse to react, refuse to rush, refuse to abandon your center. This is the moment a man stops being pulled by life and starts standing inside it, not resisting, standing. And once that happens, direction no longer feels forced. It begins to appear naturally, because clarity is not found by searching harder. It appears when the noise settles, and the noise only settles when you stop running from yourself. If you've felt weak lately, it doesn't mean you're losing. It means something inside you is asking to be rebuilt, not escaped. Strength was never meant to be loud. It was meant to be steady. The strongest men are not the ones who feel nothing. They are the ones who feel everything and still choose their direction. Not every day will feel powerful. Not every moment will feel clear. And that's okay, because discipline isn't about perfection. It's about returning to your word after breaking it, returning to your path after drifting, returning to yourself after forgetting who you are. You don't rebuild strength by changing your life overnight. You rebuild it by keeping one small promise. When no one is watching, one action finished, one impulse resisted, one day completed, not to impress the world, not to prove anything, but to remind your nervous system of one truth: you can be trusted again. And when trust returns, clarity follows. When clarity follows, direction forms. And when direction forms, strength no longer needs to be forced. It becomes quiet, heavy, unshakable, because real power doesn't rush. It waits. And when you stop running from yourself, you don't become someone new. You finally become someone whole.